Alright, I'm going to show you a proper way to do a splice on a wire. And you want to splice these two wires back together. And we're going to use solder and heat shrink. And you can get heat shrink in boxes like this pretty cheap. I got this from allelectronics.com. It has all different colors and sizes. So the first thing you got to do is tin the wire with a soldering gun. And this is my soldering pencil. And you'll notice it's kind of dull looking. It needs to be shiny and clean. So you use a wet sponge to clean it off. And then you might take a little bit of solder and do what's called tinning the iron. And then give it another wipe with that sponge. And then when you see that shininess on there, then you know you got a good clean tip and you're ready to melt some solder on wire. Okay, now I'm going to do what's called tinning the wire. So I put a little solder on the pencil. Then I heat up the wire. And I give it a moment to heat up. And then I add some solder to that wire. Now that solder is being attracted to the heat. Now both tips are shiny and have solder on the end. They're ready to be melted together. Okay, now I've chosen a heat shrink tube that's about the same color, just for appearance, and that this wire just barely goes through the inside of that tube. And don't forget to slide this on before you do your soldering. I'm going to lay these two right on top of the other and apply a little heat and solder, and they will begin to just blend together. Let it cool and then give it a little tug. The next step is now to do the proper heat shrinking. So I'm going to slide this heat shrink over that point that we just soldered. You want to work your way around the wire. You want to do a continuity check to make sure that you have a good connection between your two ends. You want to clip your leads to both ends of that wire you just soldered together. And not only get it toned, but you need to wiggle this to make sure that nothing's loose.